Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'll be covering the game I had with Liège WOT from France. And the funny thing is, I've actually played this guy before, so it is quite a coincidence that I played him again. And this game is a 15 plus 10, I think, time increment. And I was originally gonna play a 30 plus 0, but I couldn't find an opponent, so I just decided to go for 15 plus 10. And if I won this game, I would have been at 1787, which is 13 points away from 1800, which is basically my goal for the summer. But I think I can achieve that goal sooner or later. But the game begins with e5, c6, the Caro-Kann. And I've actually studied the Caro-Kann quite a bit here, and I play the advanced variation. This is still all theory, so I don't really have to go over all this, and c3 is the best move. Still theory, and this is an inaccuracy. Now, I should have played a rook to e1, which is the best move, but this move doesn't really make me lose, so I guess it's still not that bad. He brings out the queen. Now, this was a weird move, I thought, because this pawn is still pretty well defended, and usually you would play this move in the French variation to not allow this bishop to move, but here I just thought, why not bring my knight to b3? I thought this was pretty good for me, that my knight is on a pretty good square. It adds one more layer of protection in case black plays the pawn break c5 later in the game. But I really like this move, and it turns out the engine agrees with me. He brings his queen back, I develop my bishop. This wasn't the best move, but it's still good nonetheless. He plays h6 to possibly prevent me from playing the move knight g5. And here I opted for a trade of bishops because I thought that, well, first of all, I'm going to be honest, but I was a bit stuck, so I just wanted to trade. And I also thought that this bishop was pretty active, and I thought it was a bit more active than my bishop. So I just thought, why not trade it off? I thought this would be better for me, but it turns out that it's fairly equal and just slightly better for black, actually. So I just gotta clear my throat, but here you long castles. Long castles is an inaccuracy, and usually in these positions you want to launch an attack with like a4, b4, a5, b5, c4, and you just want to roll those pawns forward. So that's exactly what I did. I play a4, which is the best move. He responds with king b8. I push the a pawn even more up. He stops my pawn from pushing, because if he didn't stop it, let's say he played something like bishop e7, I would have just continued with a6, and the thing is, you really don't want to take. Like, this is just not good. After like queen takes or rook takes, this is just too powerful of an attack. I can bring this rook forward, I can bring the knight forward. I mean, black is just pretty much just lost, actually. So he didn't allow that to happen, and here I sort of thought for a tiny bit. And I was originally gonna play the move. Yeah, I played rook to b1, rook f to b1. I originally was going to play the move knight back to d2, preparing the move b4, but I sort of wanted to keep one more layer of protection just in case if black still decides to play the move c5. So instead I played this move first. After he retreats, now I play this move. Now I'm actually I'm not too sure why I didn't do it in the other move order, but it's an excellent move. He brings a rook out to g8, and now I launch out with b4, and it turns out b4 actually isn't the best move here. Queen to h7 was best. I don't really understand why this is the best move actually, since this rook is obviously guarded by the knight. And my queen is looking a bit sus on h7, so I didn't really like that. And instead I was thinking about breaking with the pawn again. He develops the knight. I bring out my own knight to maybe c5. And my idea was that if he takes with with either the bishop or the knight, I was going to take back with the b pawn and open the b file for my rook, which I thought was a good move. Here he captures my bishop. I take back with the pawn. Taking back with the queen is the best move. But I guess this is still fine. He plays f6. And I think at this moment I was a bit stuck. And I thought for a while, and I've decided on the move knight to f6 once again. My old plan was that if he takes, which he does, I take back with the b pawn, opening up the rook, which may allow an attack, although his position is pretty solid. So I decide to exchange pawns since there's really no other good move here. I mean, you can play queen g6, but I don't really get the point of activating your queen over there, so I just took. And I decided to pawn break in the center again. I guess this isn't that good for white, but the engine still wants queen to h7, which is just a really weird move. Like, I guess it sort of attacks this pawn, but I didn't really like what happened after something like rook to h8. Now the plan I think is to like bring the queen over here. But I guess that's really an advanced move. I didn't play that, and here he blunders, allowing c takes d4. I mean d5. And I thought that if he advances pawn, then after queen x d5, I am just simply up. I'm going to be up 2 pawns if he captures and I capture, so this isn't good for black. Instead he plays here, and now I blunder. Now, I'm not really sure why I played this move, actually. The reason I played this was to put a bit of pressure on this move, and maybe later, maybe there will be some tactics over here. I have this pretty strong gun over here, and maybe I thought I could use it later on, but I guess it's not the best move. Here I play the move knight to h4, and the plan was to rotate my knight all the way to d6, where I thought it would be a pretty powerful square for the knight. Be an outpost is what you call it. But he plays the move rook to g5, not allowing me to play knight to f5. I play the move rook to f1, which sort of puts some pressure on this pawn while also maintaining the possibility of me playing knight to f5 later on. He doubles. Now this is actually a mistake. The reason is rook to g4. Now, I'm not really sure why, but I guess I should have played rook a to b7. But this is still fine, I guess. So now I play this move, and I protect my knight. These are all some pretty standard moves. And here I thought about taking this pawn, but I didn't like the fact that he would actually sacrifice here, and this is just too strong. I mean, the rook and the queen combination, I just really did not like that, so I sidestepped my king, and I brought my rook to f1 to maybe add some more pressure onto this pawn. And right here, this was a mistake. Now, I thought about taking because, once again, I liked the idea of me bringing my knight to one of these squares, but it turned out the engine didn't really like this idea, and here I blunder even more, and now the game is officially a draw. I decided to bring my king out to prevent the queen coming to one of these squares, and I eventually opted for a queen trade. He got one of my pawns, but in the end this endgame is simply a draw, because his king is just not that active, and I can win this pawn. I couldn't really break through here, so I just drew this game. Now, This game made me lose 3 elo points since my opponent was, at the time, like 80, maybe 80 to 90 points lower rated than me. But this was still a pretty good game, I would say. We both played at around 85 accuracy. So that's pretty good, but that'll be it for today. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and I'll see you all in my next video. Goodbye.